AI agents. I mean, they're pretty much the talk of the entire tech world, right? They're promising to be our personal assistants, our travel agents, even our business managers. But what's really going on behind all those flashy demos? Let's dig in and separate the hype from the reality of what's happening right now. Yeah, the promise is just massive, isn't it? Agents that can book your flights, manage your whole calendar, run entire business processes completely on their own. It honestly sounds like something straight out of science fiction. But is that what companies are really doing? Or is the truth, well, a little more down to earth? That's the big question we're going to tackle. Okay, so first, let's talk about the hype. The vision we're all sold is this picture of super complex, super autonomous AI agents. These systems that you can just give a high-level goal to and they poof. They break it down into dozens, maybe even hundreds of little steps, and then just execute the whole plan perfectly, all without a human needing to check in. That's the dream. And, this idea really captures the dream, doesn't it? The thought of an agent basically being an extension of our own mind, something that can just take care of all those tedious, annoying, multi-step things that clog up our day. The idea is that it frees us up to do the important, creative stuff. And honestly, that expectation is what's behind all the excitement and, let's be real, all the money pouring into this space. But what actually happens when you pull back that curtain? For the longest time, all we really had were cool demos and stories from different companies. But now we finally have some actual hard data. And it's all thanks to this pretty groundbreaking academic paper that gives us the first real look at how these agents are being used out in the wild. And look, this isn't just some small online poll. We're talking about the very first large-scale, systematic study of its kind. It comes from a team of researchers at some top-tier institutions, and their whole goal was to bridge that gap between what's happening in research labs and what's actually happening in the real world. They wanted to find out, what's working, what isn't, and most importantly, why. And the scale of this thing is seriously impressive. We're not talking about a few phone calls here. The researchers surveyed over 300 people who are actively building these systems. They did 20 super in-depth case studies, and they covered 26 different industries, everything from finance to healthcare. So yeah, this is some solid real-world evidence we're looking at. All right, so what did they find? Well, the first major reality check, and it's a big one, is that when it comes to AI agents in the real world today, simplicity is absolutely king. Those all-powerful, do-everything super agents we hear so much about, they're not actually what's getting the job done right now. Nope. It's something way, way more focused. And check this out. This is a huge finding. Get this. 68%, that's more than 2/3 of all the agents out there in production today, they run for 10 steps or less before a human has to jump in, either to say, yep, go ahead, or to just take over completely. So forget about these long, complicated, autonomous chains of tasks. We're talking about really short, really targeted workflows. And here's the other side of that simplicity coin. A full 70% of these agents are built using off-the-shelf models, like the ones you can get from OpenAI or Anthropic, just guided by some really clever prompting. For the most part, people aren't building these things on heavily customized, fine-tuned models. They're choosing the simpler, more controllable route. Okay, so this brings us to the study's second big surprise. If these agents are only doing these short, simple tasks, how do you even know if they're doing a good job? Well, it turns out the answer isn't some other complicated algorithm, it's us. People are still the ultimate judge. I mean, the data here is just wild. When they asked developers how they check their agents' work, a staggering 74% said they rely mainly on human evaluation. That's right. A person is literally looking at the output and making the call. Yep, that's right, or nope, that's wrong. The whole human-in-the-loop thing, it's not just a nice feature. It's the absolute core of their quality control. Okay, so all of this leads to a really obvious question, right? If the agents that are actually working are simple and have a human watching over them, then what's stopping us from building those crazy, complex, autonomous agents we see in the hype videos? What's the biggest roadblock here? Well, the study asked that exact question. They went to hundreds of developers and asked, what is your single biggest challenge? And the answer wasn't needing more data or more powerful computers or even more creative models. It was something much, much more fundamental. The number one challenge is reliability, just plain old reliability. It's the incredible difficulty of making sure, of guaranteeing that the agent will do the right thing, the expected thing, every single time. And honestly, this one word explains everything else we've just seen. It's why the tasks are short, it's why humans are constantly checking the work, because making these things reliable is just really, really hard. So, what do we make of all this? I know, it might sound like the reality of AI agents is a little disappointing compared to the hype, but the study's conclusion is actually the exact opposite. It turns out this focus on simple, controllable, human in the loop systems is precisely what's making them so powerful today. I mean, look at this contrast. It just lays it all out. On one side, you have the expectation, these long, complex jobs run by totally custom, fully autonomous models. And then you have the reality, backed by all this data, short, focused tasks using off-the-shelf models with a human always in the loop. The gap between the two is crystal clear. And here's the most important takeaway. By embracing this simplicity and control, developers have actually found a way to make AI agents work right now, today. They're not just sitting around waiting for some magical tech breakthrough. They are using simple, effective methods to deliver real, actual value across all those industries. Simplicity isn't a weakness here. Right now, it's the winning strategy. And that just leaves us with one last, really fascinating thought. We now know that reliability is the big wall holding back those more complex autonomous agents. Everything we're seeing today is what's possible in spite of that challenge. So you have to wonder, once someone, somewhere, finally cracks the code on reliability, what is the reality of AI agents going to look like then?